Thanks for tuning in. We are going to discuss today the one place that you should go to get started learning to code as of June 1st, 2023. So we're going to do the research live. This is a live, and we're going to discover, you and I together. I genuinely don't know what the answer is now. And within the hour, we will have a data-driven, evidence-based single point of starting. Let me bring up how this became an issue. Historically, by the way, the one place you should definitely go is laterally.io because this is my organization and it's updated continuously. So the result of today's research will be input into here. Laterally is a super module. What that means is when you learn laterally, I'm going to tell you to go to these other educational places and then I'm going to supplement. So historically, that would be Codecademy because that's what I used to learn to code. And there's additional reasons. I've seen very good evidence on the efficacy of Codecademy. The problem, and so go sign up for that, and whatever the latest and greatest is this month and next month, you'll always be up to date with Laterally. The problem is, I have now seen efficacy for other starting points. And so there is an ambiguity problem where it's like, well, if A is good and B is good, where should I start? And in fact, it's worse than that because it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So there's like maybe 10 providers based on current information. There's maybe like 10 providers in the MOOC, massive online open course. In the MOOC space, there's like 10 providers that could be best. And this becomes a trap. This becomes a tar pit. This becomes a problem because we get into students with analysis paralysis. Is they say, well, if there's all these good options, like I don't know what's best, and they're like trying to compare, and they never actually get started. And that's what we want to avoid. So historically, what I've done is I've said, well, all these are pretty good, but I recommend Free Code Camp if your budget is literally zero, and Codecademy Pro, the front-end path in particular, if you can afford it. Although, there's clear evidence that this entire tier, the MOOC, Massive Open Online Course, the entire tier is the bottom of the totem pole. In the past, you can go to Google Scholar and see the academic research here. I'll do this quickly. In the past, we literally had no signal at all. Like it was insignificant from zero. In recent years, we have gotten more precise measures, and we can detect a signal for some of them. So you can just say MOOC, effectiveness, any of these. I was going for efficacy, but for some reason effectiveness is, maybe it's a more popular term. Yeah, so here's a 2015 literature review cited by 81. We can do more than that. Some of these have hundreds of citations. 2016, and here's almost 1,000 citations. So let's look at this guy. From Kate Hone and Gada Said, El Said. Explains 79% of variance in MOOC learner retention. Retention is interesting, but it's not a performance. It's not an outcome variable that matters too much to the student. Like, given that I already succeeded in the course, what is my employability prospects is what most students care about. But as a MOOC designer, I do care about retention. So it kind of goes to like, who's the audience? Those who pass the midpoint are likely to complete. This is a great highlight. That's like a really textbook case of what you want a paper highlight to say. Is like, okay, here's a clear guidepost that helps a lot of people. Course content affects retention via perceived effectiveness. Check this out. That's interesting. I haven't read this paper, by the way. Interaction with instructor affects retention directly. I'm going to hang on to this paper. So this is not telling me what I care about. What I care about is just like what's the overall MOOC market effectiveness. Increasing attention. Here's a 2012 early systematic review. Found that much of the reported empirical research followed a case study approach. That is a bad thing. If you're doing case study, what that means is that you don't have a systematic measure over the whole market. You're having to say, well, this happened this one time, that happened that one time, but you don't have a consistent sort of barometer or spectral theory to tie it all together, a systematic theory. So what they're saying is basically like, yeah, there's research out there, but it's not very good. Highlighted a number of gaps in the literature. See, there you go. Non-completers. Yeah, this is basically kind of one. This is like one of the results that I wanted to point at. Retention rates are less than 10%. So even if a course is good, it's not going to do you good as a student if your odds of completion are less than 10%, right? We want you to be like having a excess of 90% chance of landing a job, not an excess of 90% chance of dropping out, right? Join late. I saw interviewing.io. I'm thinking of running it up after a couple more weeks of LeetCode. That's a great idea. Interviewing.io is my number one recommendation for big text style LeetCode data structure and interview preparation. It's not cheap, but if you can afford it, it's cream of the crop. It's what I use personally. Okay, so yeah, this is an example of a result that says like MOOCs are bad in general, because like for the average MOOC, you have less than 10% chance of even completing, and then there's a less than 100% conversion of that over to landing a job. Significantly less than 100%. Like if you're saying, oh, if I complete my Codecademy, I'll 100% get a job. No. Okay. Let me also make sure my YouTube chat is going. By the way, you can see the full screen if you head over to YouTube. All right, so interviewing.io, Aline Lerner is, I believe she's the chief executive officer. Let's double check. Very, very smart lady. Founder. So I don't know if she's CEO, but she's a founder. Possibly the founder. And she wrote this blog article, and I responded to it. The blog article says you shouldn't put certifications on LinkedIn. I gave, I think, a withering critique, and I tried to be, I think I was polite, and she responded positively. She thanked me for my response. But basically, this is not true. You should put your certifications on LinkedIn. Still, this paper is interesting and a super valuable contribution to the overall literature because of this image in particular. Okay. Basically, if you have my background knowledge, and I'm trying to communicate that with you today, if you take my background knowledge, including not just these articles, like I have a PhD in economics, so there's a lot of background knowledge there, and also including my response to her, one of the things this chart can be taken to indicate is that any of these certifications that are equal to or better than LinkedIn are good candidates, to start to learn to code. And so you might say, hey, TripleByte is where we should all start. Well, there's several problems. One of the problems is that my two that I've referred to for many reasons for a long time, FreeCodeCamp and Codecademy, those are not addressed at all in this analysis. So one of the things I want to do today is find a way to synthesize results and get them in this image, so to speak. Let me just take a minute and explain why these are historically recommended by me. The answer is employer recognition. Oops, not FreeCiv, FreeCodeCamp. Look at the stars. 368,000 stars. Now, that number, 368,000, by itself, it doesn't mean anything. You could do like divided by world population and get an awareness measure. It's going to look like a really, really small awareness measure. Better if you could get the world programming and like tech sector employment population. I wonder if that's a thing. World tech employment. I haven't actually done this. This will be fun. How many programmers in the world? This is not quite accurate because some people who are not programmers will have given that a star, including engineering managers. But this can give us a very rough approximation. So maybe 23 million. All right, I think that's going to be a more useful measure than dividing by 8 billion. And then they say 18.9. I'm sure it varies, over time. This is 2018, that's 2019. That would be interesting if they were both true. You would have a drop in 4 million. But I actually think they are just not both true. I think there is some noise in the measurement. Anyway, um, pick your poison. You want to go 18 million, you want to go 25 million, anything in that range, and then you get a sense for the fraction of them that know who FreeCodeCamp is. And I would say that's probably an underestimate, because there are a bunch of people who know about FreeCodeCamp that never came and gave this a star. But it correlates anyway. And you can compare this to other things like, what's the other popular where they teach full stack Ruby? Odin Project, that's the other one. FreeCodeCamp is amazing. Yes, it is. Thanks for the follow. I use Udemy. Awesome. I mean, at first glance, Udemy is going to be better than a LinkedIn cert, right? Because you have the midpoint here, and if you drop it straight down, Udemy is to the right, which in this chart, further to the right is better, basically. Leslie, what's up? What's up? Thanks for being here. So I would say Udemy is good, but should we say, hey, when people ask me, hey, John, where should I learn to code? Should I say Udemy? It's not obvious, because even though Udemy is good, maybe Amazon is better. But here's the interesting thing about Amazon. The midpoint is just ever so slightly to the right, and yet the interquartile range, the left and the right of the confidence interval, are shrunk in. So you're basically more confident that the average student on completion will land in this range. And so there's a whole risk management game going on here, where it's like, well, if you're risk seeking, Udemy might be a better option. If you're risk averse, Amazon might be a better option. So part of this is tailoring it to your own risk profile. And I tend to give risk averse guidance, although if I meet with you one-on-one and I find out that you are a risk seeking individual, I might tweak it. But the typical person is risk averse. And also, by choosing risk averse general advice, whenever I make data claims, whenever I make factual claims about income, placement rate, and so on, I'm being conservative. And since I have a large audience, being conservative and being risk averse minimizes the number of instances where people get mad because like they have a lived experience that is in the minority. So by being risk averse, I sort of minimize that situation. Amazon certs don't teach coding concepts. They do and they don't. They do and they don't. So there's a bunch of different Amazon certs, and yeah, a lot of them are infrastructure focused, to your point. But that's why we're here today. That's why we're here today, is we're here to pick through the data. So if you sort of look at this, you might go, hey, we should all start with TripleByte, right? There's problems with that, because TripleByte is going to assume that you know how to code, basically. Coursera, fair enough. Coursera refers to a collection of courses, so if you pick a beginner-friendly course, this is in the running. We have, as we just mentioned, reasons to be like concerned about picking Amazon. That would apply also to Oracle and probably to Microsoft and Cisco as well, so we could pick out a bunch of those. And yet, I don't think that's a very strong critique, R&D, and I'll tell you why. Look at LinkedIn. So the vast majority of LinkedIn certs have nothing to do with coding, right? However, some do have to do with coding. And ask yourself this question: what is the signal value of a LinkedIn cert that has to do with coding? The null hypothetical answer is it's no different than any other LinkedIn cert. So you get this square in a rectangle problem, if that makes sense. So basically, we have no ground to say that a LinkedIn coding cert is any less valuable than any other LinkedIn cert. And similarly with Amazon, like Amazon does have developer certs. Let's just show this to clear up the confusion. So many of their certs are infrastructure focused, but like not all of them. So here's an example of one that does have a coding component, is the certified developer. We should be rolling this out for other reasons. Like you shouldn't even sit for a lot of these certs until you have experience with AWS, basically. That's like a requirement to even sit for some of these. Oh, I don't really want to go through the sample questions. I mean, I guess we could. Development with AWS services, security. Security needs to include a code component. They need to ask you about SQL injection and stuff like that. Fault tolerant applications in a programming language. So you do pick, so you see there's a coding component here. Developing in a Lambda, I think they want you to actually be able to write a bit of code inside of your Lambda. JSON Web Tokens, yeah, technically you could know about a JWT without actually knowing about a programming language. I don't know, could you? Like, I don't understand, without familiarity with any programming language, how you would actually detect a JWT injection. You would need to be able to look at the code, right? Git-based version control, like in theory, you could just study Git without coding, but really you should be coding to understand Git, right? CDK, you can't use the CDK without coding. Like the CDK is written in, it is code. That's what it is. You write CDK in code. Yeah, so basically like I stand by, I don't know how you get some of these with actually knowing zero about coding. Although it's definitely infrastructure heavy, you could say it's not primarily a coding signal. I would agree with that. But you need to know some about coding. Thoughts on GCP? It's pretty cool, but that's not the topic at hand. Okay, so you've got the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we have too many places to start, and we need to tell our juniors one place to start. And so based on this graph, you might just want to say TripleByte, but there's at least three problems. First, this graph doesn't even mention my historic preference, which is FreeCodeCamp and Codecademy. Okay, so we need to integrate that. We'll do that quickly. Second, we need to check for special cases. So Oracle is a special case. Amazon arguably is Amazon is basically a special case, yeah, because to even sit for the exam, you need to have experience already. So we kind of need to examine these top few candidates, TripleByte, Coursera, Udemy. We need to examine them as special cases. I think that's basically it. I think we can collapse the 3 points into those two. Can you clarify the topic, please? The topic is, if somebody asks you, where should I go to learn to code? What do you tell them? What we don't want to tell them is this. Have you ever heard someone say, hey, what's the best programming language? And they say, well, you know, it kind of depends. It could be Rust, it could be C++, it could be JavaScript, it could be Swift. It kind of depends, you know, it's whatever you feel like, man. That's terrible advice. What we want to do is have an intelligent default. If someone says, what is the best programming language? I want to say you should learn React, not Python. And yes, I said React, which is a library. I didn't say JavaScript. And here are the reasons why. And you give them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So you have an intelligent default. And then if they say, well, I'm in this funky situation, you can always update. But you or me, as the expert, I need to have an intelligent default, basically. Leslie says it's obviously HTML. I love that. I have a shirt that says HTML is the best programming language. Justin says only CSS is the best. I love it. Fight to the death in the comments, please. HK says, how would I start learning AWS? I would say start by learning to build programs and then get a job and then get your employer to train you with AWS. Because you don't want to run the risk of having your project overflow budget. It can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. That's not cool. Their free tier is a fake free tier. It expires after a year. Lots of people end up getting bills because you say, oh, I won't be doing this a year later, and then you're doing this a year later. Why not Python? So the answer is because most people who want to code are not data analysts. Now, that's not the topic of today's thing. For the purposes of, I mean, it's kind of related, right? Because which course depends on which programming language. However, if it ends up being Coursera, Udemy, if it ends up being Coursera or Udemy or Codecademy, they all support both JavaScript and Python and TypeScript. So all of your these are the two major junior languages are JavaScript and Python. And all of your major learning providers teach on both languages. AWS has some always free stuff, not limited to 12 months like Lambda. I don't recommend it, Leslie. I don't recommend it. HK, where would be the best place to apply online? I'm mainly using LinkedIn. Is there something better? No, I don't think there's anything that's better. LinkedIn is great. However, I wouldn't restrict myself to LinkedIn. So there's a bunch of additional supplementary locations like Indeed Jobs. This also depends whether you're in the United States or not. Lots of questions. Thanks for the activity. Quick reminder, if you are on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch. Links are in my bio and you can see the full screen. Please subscribe on YouTube. I'm trying to build my YouTube audience and I have a number of playlists on YouTube, which you will not be able to access on TikTok. J Badim says, Python does not equal SQL. I don't know who said it did. Why is 70 degrees inside my house colder than 70 degrees in the office? That's a solid question. I don't know. What do I need on my resume for an entry-level SDE role? I have a software engineering job right now. Oh, if you have a software engineering job right now, you can go directly into SDE, right? That should be good enough. Feel free to book a call with me through my bio if your resume is not converting for some reason. But if you have software engineering experience, you should be able to go directly into SDE. Okay, back to the topic at hand. So currently, if someone says, where do I start? I say, well, on this picture, look at LinkedIn, and anything above it is a bad idea, and anything below it can work. But also, there's a couple exceptions, such as Microsoft. If you get a Microsoft cert, you need to be careful what you're doing because you're going to start getting pinged for Microsoft roles. If you get a certification in Excel, guess what you're not going to get? Recruiters who want you to be a programmer. You're going to get recruiters who want you to be an Excel subject matter expert, like a business analyst, for example. Same with Oracle. You can get a certification in Oracle. It will definitely get you more recruiters knocking at your door, but they're going to be knocking at your door for an Oracle role, like a DBA role or something like that. So if you want to be a programmer specifically, probably skip Microsoft and skip Oracle. And so then it's like, okay, LinkedIn, recommend those. Udacity, recommend those. Udemy. And then the question becomes like, should I be getting all of these? And the answer is like, no, that's not an optimal use of your time. So then the conversation proceeds, okay, well, should I just go for the top here, TripleByte? And that's what we don't know. We don't know because TripleByte seems to be a special case. And also, this analysis doesn't even consider my historic favorites, Codecademy and FreeCodeCamp. Any reason CompTIA isn't listed? Because it was not in the data analysis set. It was not in the data analysis set. So the person who wrote this article at interviewing.io, Aline Lerner, very smart lady, she did not check for every certification in existence. She picked these. And I mean, I don't know. You could tweet her and ask her why she picked these. I think it's a really important addition to the research and literature that we have this. And so we need to consider this. I don't know why she picked A or B. Okay, so we talked about the importance of employer recognition and showed why FreeCodeCamp is preferable to something like the Odin project. If we look at the Odin project on GitHub, where's the GitHub link? It's at the bottom, I think. Yeah. The stars are not there. Where are the stars? Star, star, star. Do I need to log in? Right. So there's 2,500 stars, or I guess this one is 10K. This is their most popular repository. So 10K is a drop in the pan compared to FreeCodeCamp. If you remember, it was over 300K. Let's see. over 300, like almost 370K. So for purposes of employer recognition, this is a more widely known curriculum. That doesn't mean that the curriculum content is better. It means that it's a better signal to employers. So this is a really important distinction. The distinction between having skills and showing skills. So if you take Free Code Camp and if you take it and put it on your resume and then you go, man, there's a lot of recruiters reaching out to me now, except that I don't feel like I actually know how to code. That's when you go and do, maybe you do Odin Project as well. So there is a role for 2 certs or 2 courses. But what you don't want to do is get into cert hell or tutorial hell, where you're just taking courses and courses and courses and you're not actually landing a job. Once you get those cents in your resume, you'll get an increase in call from recruiters. I mean certs. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm a programmer. Should I get CompTIA? I don't recommend it, but I haven't looked deeply into it. Free Code Camp sounds like it is trash. Why are recruiters so clueless? Yikes. I don't know. What about App Academy? App Academy is decent, but it's not a MOOC. It is a coding boot camp. So it is in a different class of education. And frankly, it's in a higher class of education. Coding boot camps, on average, outclass MOOCs on average. But please don't go to an average coding boot camp. Please go to a high prestige coding boot camp. Go to Google Scholar. You can look for my name, Google Scholar. Here's John Vanderveer. Hireability and educational prestige. Read this paper. In this paper, I show the rule for a high prestige coding bootcamp. El Morito, ¿qué onda? Thank you for being here. So basically, you want to go to course report, go to all schools. You want to look at the most reviewed, not the best reviewed. You want to look at the most reviewed. And you want 400 or more reviews. So the most reviewed, they all meet this. And then you scroll through and look for a rating of 4.25 or higher. LeWagon is the best in the world. Last I checked, they were not available in the United States. Maybe that has changed. The one that I recommend these days, these are 2 of them that I recommend these days for American students, would be Springboard and Career Foundry. Let me make sure they still have the guarantee. So they guarantee the job. So in addition to being a high quality curriculum, these 2 providers have a job guarantee. And so you really want to strongly prefer these when you're thinking about the return on investment to your education. Also, that's cybersecurity, data analytics. So they have some different options. I, of course, would suggest that you go the programming route. So software engineering career track, at a cost of $9,900, this is not at all unreasonable. I think, frankly, it's below the average among coding boot camps in terms of price. This is not an expensive coding boot camp. If someone tries to tell you that $9,900 is expensive, they are doing the math wrong. I have a PhD in economics where I studied the return on investment to higher education. If someone tells you $9,900 is too much, they are doing the math wrong. By the way, you can get deferred tuition on things like this. So you don't need to pay $9,900 out of your pocket. That's not the point. All online, that's weak. Nope, L for you. Nothing wrong with an online course. Online courses have a number of virtues. They improve accessibility, and they are not associated with worse learning outcomes. Very cool. Lots of good chat in the, lots of good discussion in the chat. Hey, tap the like button. We have almost more people watching than likes. That's like very strange. Quick reminder, if you go over to Twitch or YouTube, you can get the full screen. Great advice. Thank you so much. LOL, paying for this is dumb. Okay. Paying for education is dumb? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Go convince the whole world. Thoughts on Hack Reactor? Last time I checked, they were highly rated, but not enough reviews. Let's see if they got more reviews now. Again, folks, this is not meant to be a discussion about coding boot camps. Please do. and it's the same story today. So 4.62 means that they're highly rated, 330 reviews. They do not meet the criteria for for like prestige. They don't have enough employer recognition because they're too small and not enough reviews. So this would be a decent course, but it would not be my first recommendation. You can very easily self-learn. No, damn seed, you're spreading misinformation. The success rate for self-teaching programming is under 5%. So that is not something that can be done very easily. It takes an extreme outlier of a person. And I say that as someone who is a self-taught programmer. Most people are not successful that route. So that's bad advice. Best place to get started with a career in cybersecurity. So this is not a stream about cybersecurity, but I would point you back to Springboard, who I just showed you why this is a reputable boot camp, and they have a cybersecurity program. I am in trucking and I want to be in IT. Do you think it's a good idea? Absolutely, yes. Thanks, dude. Signing up now. Very welcome. Glad to see you here. Thank you for the follow. When they say job guarantee, they have a job for you after completing the program or what? I think the way it works is if they don't land you a job within a certain number of months, I don't know if it's like 3 or 6 months, something like that, then they give you a full refund and or you don't have to pay. I think that's how the guarantee works, but please do confirm with someone who's officially affiliated with the school. I'm not. I'm just a data analyst for this. Damn Seed says, so I have done a bunch of research on this stuff. Cool, me too. I have a PhD in economics on this topic. How about you? You have a cool anime Pikachu profile pic. Maria says, one of the TAs from my boot camp used to be a truck driver, works from home, makes great money. That's a fantastic story. I love that. 18 grand is a bit much. I mean, you know, depending on various factors, it might be worth it, but I think you can do better. Which is better, a boot camp or a CS degree from a school like WGU? I genuinely don't know. I can tell you that a high prestige college is a better investment. No, hold on. Investment is probably the wrong word. It has a better hireability rate. And we can get into what that means. It's a rabbit trail. But basically, if you have a degree from Harvard, you're going to get hired quicker than if you go to Springboard. That doesn't necessarily make it a better investment because Harvard is very expensive. But if you can like get into Harvard for free, you should totally do it. When it comes to WGU, I'm not sure because I don't know about their prestige calibration. I don't want to be offensive, but I think it's a fairly middling school. I don't think it's like particularly bad or particularly good. I think it's sort of in the middle. And it's not clear to me that a middling school is a better investment than a high prestige boot camp. That's not clear to me. It may or may not be the case. If you want personalized advice, book a call with me through my bio. So like I said, if you go to Harvard, you're unlikely to pay the full sticker price. And so you would want to consider what you personally are actually going to end up paying. We've already talked about how your personal risk preference matters. And so personalized advice is you book a call in my bio for that. All right, let's get on to the comparative analysis that I want to do. So closing this. I want to go back. Maybe I can use that hireability and prestige study. I'm not sure. I'll open this up and then I'll also go to look at attitudinal. We can look at the attitudinal trends, that might help. And one other paper that might help is, let's see. Yeah, conformity and soft skills might help. All right, so we're going to look at these papers and try to integrate the research from these papers. Excuse me. No, I'm not going to get a free access to this one. Here's the working form. So we can look at this. Hey, there's a bunch of questions about specific schools. Please go onto my videos and drop a comment, and then I'll try to address your question there. I'm trying to get back on today's topic, which is if someone wants to learn to code, what is the single best place that they should go to learn to code? Okay, let's open this PDF. Yeah, so these are the working forms of all these papers. Slightly different from what's actually published in the journals, but shouldn't be terribly different. So this one has a sample size over 1,000. So let's go for that one first, maybe. ACNG, alternatively credentialed non-college graduate. So it's someone who has not graduated from college. And I'm just going to Control F and look for Udacity or Udemy. Okay. I own a small software company. I've hired bootcamp and college grads. Kudos to you. Can EUC me? Kudos to you. Okay. Five specific examples of alternative credentials include. Okay, so that's how Udacity is brought up here. This paper has some interesting stuff. If you think that it takes a week or a month or under 3 months to get an alternative credential, if you, the employer, believe that, then you devalue credentials. And so one of the implications there is that as a student, I might want to pick a boot camp that does not comply with these. It rather complies with one of these. So that's an interesting result there. But the point of this is not to just go through the results in these papers. Let's see if I can see Udemy. Okay, so I guess in this paper, I don't directly mention Udemy or Udacity in this paper. I think I do in the questionnaire. But I guess I just didn't include that in this. Yeah, so I need to actually get the raw data. I need to go back and check what data I even have. Okay, so we might need to do this in a different stream. I might have to go prepare some data for this. Rob Van Nostrand, thanks for the follow. Okay, so let's see if we can get at this problem a different way. I was hoping to do one of those. Let's crack open ChatGPT. I can try the default model or ask it to browse. Let's go with the default first, just because it might be faster. And so the question would be, I really doubt it's going to know without browsing. Let's try it anyway. What role a student seeking the credential with the best ROI that will enable you to land a programming or software engineering job. Question. is which learning provider is best for learning to code. Show your work. Options: Codecademy, free code camp, Coursera, Udemy, Udacity, or Triple. We don't even really need to address Udacity. Udemy or TripleByte. For most software engineering jobs, boot camps and certifications don't cut it. And then there's an asterisk, big tech software engineering jobs. I'd love to see your data on that. Okay, Codecademy provides interactive learning with a strong emphasis on practical experience. That's great. However, the lack of in-depth theoretical explanation might make it less suitable for advanced learners. Okay, I mean, it's a fair point. However, didn't I specifically ask about learning to code? Yeah, so I'm wanting something that's beginner friendly more than something that is emphasizing advanced learners. But fair enough. Free Code Camp stands out. The lack of instructor-led guidance can be challenging for some learners. This is a great point, actually. This is a great point. Although Codecademy also lacks instructor-led, right? So this is a problem for MOOCs in general. Can you show the graph again and explain it? Sure. Let me walk through this graph a bit slower. So this is an association with passing the interview. So interviewing.io is like the world's leader in data structures and algorithm. Interview prep, whiteboarding interviews. You know, there's a number of names. Technical interviews, basically. So they're a world leader in this. And they analyzed LinkedIn data. And they analyzed the certifications listed on job candidate profiles. And they analyzed the association of the certification with technical interview performance. Do you have any thoughts on why TripleByte is so high? Yes, I do. I think the answer is that TripleByte prepares you for technical interviews. And I do think it's a special case, and that's one of the things we're trying to investigate today. Let's just go over to the TripleByte website. I think we're kind of going back and forth, but that's okay. It's alive. Carrot. Carrot's a technical interview platform as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Carrot's great. I used Carrot, and I had a great experience with them. Do they do practice interviews? At the time that I spoke with them, they did not do practice interviews, and I encouraged them to change that, but I don't know if they ever did. Declan says, woohoo! Thank you. Just leak code for interviews. You don't need TripleByte or whatever. Okay. Yeah, need is the wrong word. So what we're trying to do here is maximize our return on investment. You don't need to maximize your return on investment, but like, it's a good idea. Need-based mental modeling is it's just not a good mental model at all. You don't want to go for what you need. You want to go for what's best. Yeah, so this place is cool. You know, they work with Roblox and a bunch of cool places. Compass, Flatiron, boop. Good stuff. So I don't see anything that indicates that they have practice interviews though. But anyway, cool place. Carrot snaps up triple bite. What is this? Oh my word. Is this new? Is this real? IDK, man, I get what you're saying, but boot camps certs are a waste of money for SWE jobs. No, they're not. There's literally zero data to support that. So if you can get a job guarantee, that's not a waste of money. Guarantees have value. That's what an investment is when you pay money and you get something of value in return. And the return on investment for something like a Springboard coding bootcamp is fantastic. Technology industry continues to rack up a ever longer list of layoffs. Yeah, layoffs.fyi is valid. This is so brutal. So I'm not sure it's valuable for me. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So something can be valuable in general, and it might not be valuable for you specifically. Like if you have a CS degree from Harvard, you don't need to go to a coding boot camp, right? But if you have no college degree at all, a coding boot camp is going to be a great option for you. So this stuff does need to be personally tailored to your situation. That's totally true. By the way, that's one of the services that I offer. Like I'm an expert in tailoring this stuff to your personal situation. Check the link in my bio if you'd like a one-on-one consultation. Riza says, I'm specifically talking about AMZ training. I guess by AMZ you mean Amazon? Yeah, again, the same comments apply, right? Bootcamp guarantees don't mean anything. There's a lot of stories of people not getting jobs. No, that's like I'd like to see it. There are a lot of stories of people going to a boot camp and not getting jobs. There's not a lot of stories of people with a job guarantee that didn't get jobs. And literally, you can like press legal charges. So here's what you don't do is look at statistics and go, there's some stories. So disregard all the statistics. Just Google it, dude. Yeah. Big L, big L. That's like the classic line, big L line right there. Just Google it, dude. Okay. One of the bigger players in the area of technical recruitment is making an acquisition. Carrot is acquiring TripleByte. This is really wild to me. This is potentially great news. Financial term, I don't care about the financial terms. I care about the learning outcomes. I think I need to like get off the stream and talk to the people that I know over there. That's really interesting. I didn't know about this. On the India booming note. That was interesting, but I didn't get answers to any of my actual questions. Lol, okay, bro. You're here using ChatGPT and I'm the L. Yeah, I mean, using ChatGPT is not an L. I don't know. Are you mad at ChatGPT for some reason? Um, they didn't take the website down, did they? Did they actually take, why is the website not coming up? Yeah. Whoa. Is the website boofed? Triplebyte.com. Whoa, TripleByte is boofed? That's so crazy, dude. I mean, here's a short answer to, hey, should we use triplebyte.com? Like if someone's like, I looked at this chart, TripleByte is the leader. Yo, it really is. I looked at this chart, dude. TripleByte's #1. Should I get a TripleByte cert? Here's my answer. Try. The website is down. What? Just don't let anyone trick you into thinking that React is the only way. It's not the only way, but it is the best way. React is absolutely, as far as I'm aware of, the best starting point for most people. What are good backend projects to do for your resume? The number one project that I recommend oh man, if I can speak English. The #1 project that I recommend everyone try is a blog. So I recommend everyone make a blog, and then a second project that's a good project is a portfolio site. And then after that, you want to do something that you're personally invested in, a capstone project that you have some personal stake in, a passion project. So I've seen people do things that are art related, music related, crypto related. Those are really good ones. I've seen people do fitness related apps and gaming related apps. For the capstone, those are all great. Yo, I agree with those two as starter projects. Thank you. Yeah, and that's all I mean is those are really good first projects, basically. I am baffled that TripleByte is down. Literally out there Twitter. Okay, I guess we'll just move on. Let me tweet them and make sure they know. It's just at Carrot, right? So why was it not? Games are tough to code. It depends. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch. Link is in my bio and see the full screen. TripleByte is a bit different. Instead of coding courses, it focuses on technical hiring. They provide a coding quiz. However, it doesn't provide the educational content the other platforms do. Yeah, so I think what we've demonstrated so far today is that, yes, we have confirmed TripleByte is an outlier. It's an exception to the rule. Basically, if someone says, hey, I want to learn to code, you don't send them to TripleByte. TripleByte is at the sort of middle part of the job search stage, before you interview, but after you've already learned to code. And so the next contenders would be this triumvirate, this trinity of Udemy, Amazon, Coursera. Amazon, I think we can rule out because, first of all, their certs lean towards infrastructure. There is a coding component, but it's not primary. And they're also, again, they're certification oriented, not teaching oriented. You can get, like, they have some educational material, but that's like not what they're good at. And then the third thing would be that you have to have, for most of these certs, you have to have industry experience before you're even allowed to sit for the certification. Build a basic text-based dungeon crawler. It'll teach you about object-oriented programming. That sounds like a lot of fun. That could be cool. Yeah, I don't actually think you need to know about object-oriented programming. Actually, I'm sure you don't need to know about object-oriented programming to get your first junior programming role. But if you're specifically interested in object-oriented programming, that sounds like it could be fun. Damn Saeed says, I'm pretty sure you don't need industry experience for Amazon certs. I might be wrong, though. You're right and you're wrong. So there are some certs that don't have an experience requirement, but most of them do. Here, I don't want to get off track, but I'll just quickly go through it. Best preparation for certifications is practical experience. We recommend 6 months to 2 years of hands-on experience using AWS. This is just in the FAQ. If you go to the specific certs, like if you try to sign up for one, you have to attest, depending on which one it is. Like, let's go for Certified Solutions Architect as one example. Schedule an exam. Okay. Can EU see me depends on the company. What depends? You mean about object-oriented? Yeah, that depends. Go to your account. Okay. I'm at least 18 years old. I agree to, yeah. Please update or confirm your demographic information. They're like, hey, you white? Hey, are you white, man? Why do you care? Exam registration. Register for an exam. You can't even get internships without knowing OOP principles. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Damn, Saeed, man, you talk like you know so much. I've literally helped dozens of people get programming roles, and I've been a programmer for 10 years, and I have a PhD in economics where I studied labor dynamics in the tech hiring market. Object-oriented programming, at least at my company, it's a requirement. Yeah, this is more common if your company basically is a Java shop, but it's not for programming in general. Oh, it literally wants me to update this before I'm allowed to register. Wow. Okay. All right, y'all got me. I'm white. Where do I say that? Demographic. I don't get it. What is it asking me? Oh, over here. My profile. I don't see a section for demographic information. What am I missing? Oh, it's update/confirm. Okay. All right, let me take this off screen. What is going on, Amazon? You didn't make me do this last time. What describes your current role? I'm a backend developer, I guess. Primary language currently is probably Python. Oh, English. Okay. I do because I'm a mentor for kids looking to get into big tech and I work at big tech. Okay, yeah, so I think you just need to own your bias a little bit. That this is a big tech bias that you're representing, where even the juniors are supposed to know about OOP kind of thing. And that Leet Code is like, just do Leet Code. You don't need to have like a good course. You just need Leet Code. This is very big tech sort of paradigm. Okay, so let's go schedule with Pearson VUE, AWS Certified Solutions Architect. By the way, you don't need this cert at all for big tech, right? While we're talking about big tech. Where do you want to take your exam? At a test center? Sure. This is just going to be like you need your ID and stuff. By registering, you agree to this programming agreement. Okay, let's read that. Here's the cancellation policy, reschedule policy. I think that's good. We can agree to this. Let's check that agreement really quick. Participation requirements. And on the AWS certification site. Okay, so I don't see the word experience coming up in this agreement. AWS certification site means this. Let's go look at that. Certified Solutions Architect. Okay. Prerequisites. Prepare for your exam. The target candidate has 2 or more years of experience. Interesting. It used to be a hard requirement. When they say target candidate, it seems like they might have softened it from being a hard requirement. I don't know. Let's see if it lets me register. Okay, so I'll pretend that I'm going to take it here. Sure. Sounds good. How do I go forward? Can select up to 3 centers. I don't want to select 3 centers. I just want to select this one. Oh, next button. Okay, cool. All right, it looks like it would let me register if I want to. Yeah, I'm not going to actually book it, but it looks like it's letting me book it. So cool. Yeah, it used to be a requirement, but now I think it's just like recommended or something. You can take it with 0 years of experience as well. Yeah, I guess so. Looks like it. Cool. All right, so what does that mean? Does that mean that we should now consider Amazon a possibility? Maybe. Let's see if there's an Amazon Learn to Code site. I still think this is not the way to go, but let's give it a shot. Learn to code from Amazon. Amazon Learn to Code. And this is just like, okay, like books about how to learn to code or whatever. Is there actually an Amazon Learn Python on AWS workshop? So here's a workshop. Several ways you can complete this. Yeah, I guess you could, if you want to, learn to code this way. It just feels really weird. Okay, so someone asked me, "Hey John, like, why do you not recommend this?" And my answer is because the learning style is weird. That doesn't feel like a strong answer. Whoa, what just happened? My browser just bugged. That was learning Python, and I don't actually prefer Python. I prefer React over Python. So maybe that's an answer. CS50 courses, yeah, that's good. Code with Google. So, like, why am I doing this? Like, learning computer science, more than 65% of young people will work in jobs that don't exist. All right, cool. It takes years to be a great programmer. Yeah, but it doesn't take years to get your first programming role. What do you think about C Sharp? I mean, I think it's okay. I don't recommend it. If you already have a programming role and you want to learn a second language, frankly, I still don't recommend it, but like that would be a better situation than someone who's trying to learn their first programming language, in my opinion. So what am I doing here? Explore all code with Google programs. Um, Scholarship opportunities, that's cool. Yeah, if you can land a scholarship, go for that. Student training and engineering program. I don't know. Summer program, Computer Science Summer Institute will not be running in 2023. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. What's the point of this? Just go to the first tab. Okay, let's go to the first tab. Enhance any subject. So introduce Core CS program. Maybe this is what we should do. We don't want to build Android games. Find the right track for your students, maybe that. All right, let's go here. Not sure which lesson to start with. Bro, what? Like, what is going on? Yeah, that should be a good starting point for learning to code. Okay, cool. Um, Maybe an hour, I guess. This feels like it's like for coding and TAs or something. Have your students use Scratch? Oh, dude, do not teach my students Scratch. My students will not ever use Scratch. Which modality do you prefer? I prefer that they code. So scaffolded text, I guess. Yeah, the hour of code is pretty cool. Okay, so that's under this Learn with Google thing. My Google logo, no thanks. Build a superhero. Okay, we can check that out. I know what Scratch is for. It's just terrible. So you learn by doing, so you want to get to writing real code as quickly as possible, and Scratch is not it. Um, okay, learn about computer science and then use loops, events, and sequencing to turn an everyday hero into a superhero. This is cool. Yeah, this just feels like it's like a lesson. Yeah, this is like one lesson. This is not actually a complete course, right? Welcome to CS First. Okay, this is cool. Well, except that it's Scratch. What do I get at the end of this? Do I get a certification at the end of this? It's aligned, so you could potentially get college credit for it. That's dope. Um, yeah, there's some things I like about this, but I think there's a lot to improve. But the hour of code by itself is like, I think, kind of a fun activity. I wouldn't really require it, but it's like kind of fun. All right, let's get back on track. So, yeah, are we going to learn to code from Amazon? Does Amazon have coding classes? Like, basically, no. This is somebody trying to like hijack the Amazon brand name. Amazon Future Engineer. What is this? Boot up PD. Okay. Scratch and Scratch Junior. This is such hot garbage. Oops, 404. This is hot garbage. Is Latterly the website you are in for the coding? What do you mean you are in for the coding? Like, I teach people to code at Latterly? We only buy on Amazon. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's for, right? Okay, so I'm open to the idea that one day in the future, Amazon makes some courses and then maybe they'll be good. But as it stands, like, I'm not persuaded that this is a good route. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. So it's theoretically possible that you can just go dive in and get a certified solutions architect. It seems theoretically possible. I don't know how well you would do if you've actually never used AWS. You just kind of studied it in a textbook. I'm sure there's some people that are just like really great at memorization that will be able to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I don't recommend it, basically. App Academy Open, the free version. Maybe. I mean, App Academy is decent, so I guess their free version is probably also decent, but I want to see data. I want to see actual data. So currently the data is showing us Coursera is good, Udemy is good, and then Free Code Camp and Codecademy are also good for totally different reasons. So we have these 4 options, and it's not clear like which is best. I guess we can pretty much say Coursera is better than Udemy. I think we can pretty much say that. Thoughts on New Camp? I don't know. New Camp is super interesting. It's a different educational model, right? Pookie, I would actually appreciate you telling me. What do you think about it? I've heard really good things. I actually don't think I've heard anyone say a bad thing about New Camp. But I also have not seen any actual employer data. So I don't know how well it converts to employment. Pokemon 1740 says, what is this live about? We are discussing if someone asks you to code, what is the single place that you tell them to go? And currently it looks like I have 3 options. I have Coursera, Codecademy, and Coursera, Codecademy, and Free Code Camp for all different reasons. Is the AWS Solutions Architect a good certification? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So you can see right here, this is the Amazon, like, it's associated with relatively good outcomes relative to LinkedIn, and that's the benchmark that matters because LinkedIn, we have data that indicates that if you have a LinkedIn cert, you get 6 times as many in-mails on LinkedIn for recruiting. You don't recommend Udemy. Udemy is good. Like, it seems to be better than LinkedIn. You can look at this graph in front of us. Here's Udemy, and then here's LinkedIn. The issue is that it seems Coursera is better. So why would I recommend Udemy over Coursera? Hack Reactor Bootcamp. Nope, we went over that earlier. And feel free to leave a question on my TikToks, and I'll deal with these sort of like one by one. But the general framework is you need a minimum of 400 reviews on Course Report and a rating of 4.25 or better. O'Reilly has thousands of books. Yeah, when people ask me that and they say they want to learn to code, I'm not going to tell them to read thousands of books. That's not a good answer. Pluralsight. Pluralsight is cool. I personally used Pluralsight to study for my Amazon certifications that I got. I don't know, is it good for beginners to learn to code? I don't know about that. Maybe it is. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying I don't have data to indicate that. But that's all certs, though. It may be applicable for IT roles like solutions engineer. Oh, you're talking about Udacity? Yeah, maybe. Okay. So here's another way we can get a cut at this. One of these talks about, I think it's the prestige one. One of these talks about big tech has its own prestige, basically, that it doesn't even matter what your course report rating was. So I think I talk about Google. The study finds that a credential from Google is sufficiently prestigious to be competitive without a requirement of supplementary conditions. Yeah. So the rule I described for coding boot camps of 4.25 or better, Google is the only unaccredited learning provider to achieve competitive status on the basis of this initial rule. The mean prestige response for Google was 7.1, and the median was 7. 2 lower bars for competitive status are interesting. So it beat University of Nebraska. Having a certification from Google was better than graduating from Nebraska. New camp could be more challenging, I guess, needs more projects. Okay, thanks for the feedback. I'll keep it in mind. No alternative credentials investigated in the study meet criteria for moderate competitiveness. Ooh, dang, I need to double check what those are. App Academy, General Assembly, and Google are the 3 alternative learning providers with high prestige. 41% of respondents indicated that they would not prefer to work with a person that holds an accredited credential instead of, excuse me, a person that holds a reputable certification or non-college credential. Over 70% reveal a preference for at least one actual alternative credential to at least one university credential. I've taken Intro to Java. What do you recommend moving forward? Well, my question would be, did you enjoy them or did you think that Java was annoying? So when I took Java in formal school, I couldn't stand it. But if you liked it, keep going with it. And if you couldn't stand it, then I would switch over to JavaScript is my short answer. Not permanently, but for now. You should get to TypeScript as soon as you can. Google is sufficiently prestigious to be competitive without... Yeah, where is my chart where I show Google? Did I actually show it in there or just talk about it? I guess I just talk about it. Credential from Google was the only alternative credential to be identified as generally competitive with an accredited degree. Yeah, and so Google was investigated as big tech, so it's a Fortune 50 learning provider. And so in general, this would apply to also Amazon and Facebook, and basically Fortune 50 companies. They get this sort of exception to the typical coding bootcamp rule. So Coursera and Udemy. Google is YH. What does that mean? Google is YH. I don't know what that means. So the question is, Coursera and Udemy, do they have a class in cooperation with Google? Udemy has a vast library of courses, including many on programming and software engineering. Quality varies greatly because anyone can teach on Udemy. Udacity does nano degrees. Yeah, so I think I would lean towards that as a recommendation, but then it begs the further question, is a nano degree comparable to these things with Google and Facebook? Okay. Realistically, what's the entry salary for a SWE in San Diego? I don't know. Would it be 80? Here, let's see. Entry salary, San Diego. And did you say software engineer, or is this like web developer or what? Because it actually makes a difference. Let's go software engineer. 55 to 120. Yeah, I think you could hit 70. I would go, average is 82, it says. Yeah, so maybe try to go for like 85 and then be willing to accept as low as 70. Coursera has GCP courses. Yeah, I would not start with GCP. So when it comes to cloud platform providers, I think you need to learn to code before you learn to build infrastructure. Syed says, I wouldn't go under 120. Yeah, I mean, if you can do it, go for it. Damn, that's kind of low. I'm a mechanical and make 80. Not sure if it's worth the switch. I think Saeed's right here, which is it's worth the switch if you can get a raise. If you're already making that much, don't switch down, right? Adam says, I made 215 as a new grad in San Francisco. I think San Francisco and San Diego are built different, but maybe you can get a remote job or something. Why are we looking at Glassdoor? Look at Levels. Yeah, so Levels is big tech focused. Yeah, the issue is that Levels only has like a fraction of the jobs, and it's big tech focused. So if you're a career switcher, if you're already working, or if you want to get a job now, the real issue is with Levels juniors, you basically need a traditional background. That's the issue. So unless you have a CS degree, you're probably not going to break into tech at 200K, right? Why not aim for big tech though? You can. So big tech is harder to get into than tier 3. So what you do is you get qualified for tier 3 and then you study up and go to big tech, right? Now to your point, at worst you get a good job somewhere else. I don't know. I have not seen data on that where if you don't know how to code but you do know how to leak code, then you get a tier 3 job. I don't see a lot of people doing that actually. What's the average salary of a pharmacist? I don't know. Someone else Google it. Saeed says, I don't know. I got into big tech as my first job. Cool. Yeah, congrats. I had to work my way up to big tech, so I saw a range. What are your thoughts on web development and pursuing a career in it? I think web development this is not just what I think, I can show you research. Web development is basically a great entry point into programming. I would not keep my whole career there though. I would start there and I would get out. Kind of like Saeed is saying, probably go to big tech as my second step after that. Abri said, yeah, I'm worried if I can even land a job with all the competition. You can get a programming role. I don't know if you can get a tech, like a big tech role. That's pretty difficult, but you can definitely land a programming role. I want to switch into data analytics. Any tips? Um, yeah, I think, what is this place called? Data Camp? I think Data Camp is pretty good. But there's a bunch of options. You can also check out Codecademy and Springboard. Springboard's a coding boot camp, so they're in different classes. Degree or boot camp? It depends on your personal situation. There's not like a general rule that everyone should. The idea that everyone should get a degree is insane. The idea that everyone should go to a boot camp is even more insane. My husband has been trying to get into tech for years. Oh, we got a bunch of comments flying through. Hey, if I'm not getting to your question, I apologize in advance. Just leave a question on one of my TikToks, like comment, and then I'll do a reply video to your comment. My husband has been trying to get into tech for years, full stack dev, and can't even get interviews. Check out my bio. That should be relatively easy to fix. Free resources, please. Go to free, here's two. So one would be Latterly-Slides. Latterly-Slides, open source learning curriculum. You can go to docs, curriculum, or where is it? Curriculum.md right here. You can learn to code and like all the way through the job search. I even talk about stuff that a lot of other people don't talk about, which is like soft skills and interviewing techniques. Like literally the way you talk matters. All right, cool. So let's get back on track. What we've shown so far is Coursera and Udemy are the best looking out of these. And then we wanted to check, do these have partnerships with big tech? And we think the answer is yes, but let's take a look at the specific courses. And in the meantime, I will ask ChatGPT to pick on the browse with Bing mode, and I will say plan. Let's do. This is a really this is like God tier prompt engineering. Check this out. Role. You are a prospective software engineering student that would like to identify the alternative credential with maximum return on investment. You're a prospective software engineering student that would like, so then we go plan. Write, let's say show your work. And develop a step-by-step research plan that will help determine which of the following 4 options provides the best chance to land a full-time programming role with minimal risk and cost. 1 will be Codecademy, 2 will be free code camp, 3 will be Coursera, and 4 will be was it Udacity or Udemy? I keep getting them mixed up. Udemy. All right, so notice that we're using several prompt engineering techniques here. We're using role act. I haven't used the act keyword yet because I want it to plan before it acts. And then we're also using the browser, which will allow it to pick up up-to-date information. Did you pay for GPT-4? Yes, GPT-3 is I would not recommend it at all. GPT-4 or go home. Bro, how much is Plus? I think it's 20 bucks a month. Sure, I can help with that. Here's a high level plan, research option, compare and analyze. Let me say continue. I don't know if it concluded its whole plan there. Find AI is ChatGPT, but for programmers, so it's 10x better. Like, I don't think so. So let's try it. Ask anything. Are you looking for code snippets? Oh man, it wants me to do all this stuff. All right, let's use the, Yeah, I'll try to use this really quick. This screen might be screwed up for a second. Hold on. Am I alive? Can you still see me? All right, let's see what it comes up with. Comparison of alternative credentials for software engineering. That's pretty badass. 11 certifications to pursue. The problem is that when you dive into these, so let's go look at this. I think I read this before. I was like, where is your data, homie? Cybersecurity. Okay, bye. Certified software development professional. What is this? At least 2 years or related professional experience. Hold on. Recommends. I don't know if that's a hard requirement or not. Hey, quick reminder, if you're over on TikTok, you can see my full screen if you go to YouTube or Twitch. I recommend YouTube because I have a number of coding playlists that are saved on YouTube. So check it out. Certified software engineer. I mean, I guess I should hang on to these things. Like, these might be good credentials, but these are not showing me where to learn to code. Associate degree, 7 years help desk lead. Recommendations? Question mark. Yeah, so currently there are 3 options. I'm trying to narrow it down to give you just one. But the 3 options are Codecademy and Coursera. I mean, the third would be Free Code Camp, but I really don't recommend that unless you just have a budget of $0. But if you have 7 years of work, you should have a budget higher than $0. You're fully employed. Where did you get your PhD? George Mason University. Is it worth learning Salesforce if you know SQL? It can be. I mean, it depends on your goals. You don't just want to learn Salesforce for its own sake. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you really as a data analyst. Actually, it might. Yeah, if someone uses Salesforce, they would value that. So I think it would help you. I think it would help you more if you are not restricted to data analyst. Like, consider data engineering. My guy, that's sick. Congrats. Thank you so much. Do you do resume reviews? Sure, I can. Check the link in my bio. Goal is being a data analyst. You can do it without it. You can be a data analyst without Salesforce. What are your thoughts on SSRS? I don't know what that is. Econ PhD / stats is my end goal. I just want to be a prof in my 70s. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, no shade on that. Feel free to DM me. Like, if you're already in a PhD program, feel free to DM me. I'm doing active research. I have a few papers going on, so I might be able to work with you if you want to get published. Chef certification, like cool, that's fine. Agile certification, like where's the data? It really bugs me that this is the Indeed blog and it's not showing me the data. I want to know the return on investment. Why? And also, as a programmer, why am I learning Agile? This is goofy. Look at this. Somebody was recommending Find earlier. I said use the best model. And then the answer came from the 3.5 model. Best model GPT-4. This is really goofy, right? Consider the reputation, credibility, customer support, and then it calls out Career Foundry. I wonder if it's actually like using any of my actual research because I specifically encourage them. What do you think I should learn for sysadmin? I don't know. Probably you'll need Bash. Python might help. What job can I do where I smoke herb all day? You could be a programmer, just don't tell your boss. Consider alternative educational pathways, computerscience.org, themuse.com. Yeah, this is just not a good research plan. I'm not with it for Find, y'all. Not a PhD, but I did a study my last year, but life happened. Now I'm 9 to 5 finance. Yeah, no shade. Life happens for sure. Okay, so while we were goofing around, GPT-4 did some stuff. The average duration of a path is 7 to 8 weeks and 6 to 8 hours for a single course. Ooh, look at, yes! They gave me a job placement rate. GPT-4 is another level, dude. GPT-4 is another level compared to GPT-3. The boy hit me with a job placement rate. I'm in love. But this is very hard to verify. This is the same problem that I ran into. This is the same problem that I ran into when I tried to confirm numbers on Codecademy. It was like, it's good, but you kind of have to trust Codecademy. That you have to like take their numbers at face value kind of thing. It varies on who you ask. Common consensus is 60 to 80%, but we found no way to verify those claims. Yeah. Also, it seems like people have different opinions on what qualifies as a relevant job. Absolutely true. Good news is there are plenty of opportunities out there. Official degrees carry more weight on the job market. This is true. Free Code Camp is free. Job placement after completing at least one certification. More than 40,000 graduates landed jobs. However, specific job placement rate was not found. Again, it's like, you remember earlier in the stream when I was talking about the research and it talked about case studies? This is the problem with a case study. It's like, okay, this happened and that happened. Well, what's the job placement rate? Like, we can't calculate it. We don't know. That's deep. Knew you were interested in jobs even though you're just looking into programs. So program/code, but don't tell them about their herb. Got it. Gang, gang. Shadow Money gang, pull up. Okay. Past graduates from the School of Information's on-campus programs have a 95% job placement rate, but we can't use that. We cannot use that, and they own it. I feel like my rage meter is growing. A full degree starts at $9,000. You should just go to Springboard instead. Coursera Plus subscription is $399 per year. Yeah, this makes me so mad. So Coursera does have partnerships with Tier 1. Here's the learner outcomes report. Let's check that out. Sign in as me. Sure. Here's a new learner outcomes report. "77% of learners report getting a new job, earning a promotion, gaining an applicable career skill or more. You know that they're going to use an or operation there, right? Udemy and LinkedIn Plus got to be top of the certs list. They're not. They're not. So here's the certs list. So LinkedIn is good. It's not bad. So you might think, oh, well, like it's like third from bottom, so it's bad. No, actually, these are just all good. And the problem is figuring out which one is generally best. That's really tricky to figure out. Quick reminder, if you go over to YouTube or Twitch, link in my bio, you can see the full screen. Definitely sub to YouTube. I'm trying to get to 1,000 people so that they will pay me. Trying to get money. I don't want personalized recommendations. Go away. I want market data. I'm trying to do market research. What do you want to learn? Google, Google, Google. I love it. I love it. That's good. Ooh, set your learning goal. Land my first job. I am currently a chef. It didn't do anything when I did that. Okay. Earn a degree. All right, fine. We know that the degree has value. Like there's nothing wrong with the degree. It's a great investment. One of the things we love about the degree is the value is so very well defined and very much recognized and known. Like there's not a question. You go over here at Princeton University. You go to Princeton, you get a job. Okay? It's easy. It's simple math. You go to Princeton, you get a job. That's why we love it. The problem is there's a lot of people that cannot go to Princeton. There's very poor access. And my whole job is like, if you want to learn to code, you should be able to. If you want a programming job, you should be able to. And Princeton, I can't just say, hey, go to Princeton. Like I can't, that's not good advice. You see my problem? Most popular certificates, okay? So popularity is it matters. Popularity matters. Python para todos. Popularity matters. None of these are programming related except a Spanish Python program. They're really pushing BI and cybersecurity, aren't they? I think there's a shortage of cybersecurity people. 1 in 4 entry-level professional certificate completers got a new job. Okay. This is the number I'm looking for. Well, it's one of the numbers I'm looking for. 30% of unemployed learners were employed after completing their most recent course or program on Coursera. That's not good data. Within what time frame? If they can say like within 6 months, I like it. But if they're just like period, like over the rest of their life, I don't like it. From 55K learners, 190 countries. I'm really US focused, Western market focused, but it's good. It's good to have some diversity, I guess. Okay, so here's the actual in-depth. So Control F, professional. So hopefully this in-depth will, most learners come to Coursera to transform their careers. 85% want to land their first professional job, switch careers, or advance in their current roles. That's right. And that's the same reason we go to college, people. In college, it's over 90%. Fast way to get paid to code after short project. Was that a statement? Was that a question? Doesn't compute. I mean, I guess a fast way, I don't know. People say freelancing, but I've never made really good money freelancing. I've made some money. You can make a little money quick freelancing, but if you want to make a lot of money, you just get a job. Anna, welcome, Anna. Thank you for being here. Anna says, after working as a software engineer at a consulting company for 15 months, we have now been released. Ooh, yikes. On this situation, what would be your advice or recommendation for my next steps? It's going to depend on your person. So you could take what we can call the Saeed strategy, and you could grind LeetCode, and you could go work at Google now. But that's not going to be easy, and most people are not going to be able to do that. But some people can. So it's going to depend on your person. The risk averse thing, like, do you pay rent? Do you live with your parents? Do you need money next month, or do you have a few months that you could kind of study up? Can you run a full job search, or do you need to do something expedited? Here's what I'll say. Let me give you the two ends of the spectrum. My general advice is book a call with me through my bio laterally, and let's do a one-on-one consult. But I'll give you the two ends of the spectrum. One is what you can call the Saeed strategy, where you just go straight to Google. Like, hey, I have over a year of experience now. If you can pass the technical interview, then you can be a junior at Google. That'll be great. On the other end of the spectrum is kind of I need a job tomorrow, and it can be the lowest quality job. I don't care. I just need a job now. Talk to a company called TEKsystems. Basically, use a third-party agency recruiter. TEKsystems, TEK, all one word, TEKsystems. There's some others. There's Apex Systems and others. I've had some experience with a few of these places, and TEKsystems was the best. This is a company, you're not going to want to build your whole career with them in most cases, but if you need a job tomorrow, they can often do wonders. Dictator Cookie says, grind what to Google, huh? LeetCode, L-E-E-T, code. This is where you go if you want to be a big tech programmer. It's a pretty straightforward recipe. It's not easy, but it's pretty straightforward. If you can pass like mediums on LeetCode, then you can get a big tech job. It's pretty much straightforward. Unless you're just like an awful person and you show up to your interview and you like cuss out your interviewer. So if you want to learn LeetCode, here's my recommendation: is the 5 to 23 patterns article. So this is the way that I have my students learn LeetCode, basically. So there's 5 particular patterns that you want to learn first. And check this out, HackerNoon. Check it out for more. Great to see you all. Thank you all for being here. Okay, let's see if I can get to the answer to my actual purpose for the study today. 95% of learners report benefits. Great. I don't want benefits. I want a job. 1 in 4. 1 in 4. I don't see the word for even showing up. What about the number 4? Here's the number 4. So there's the age distribution. 31% is North America. Cool. And then another. So the majority are from North America and Europe. Cool, I guess. I kind of suspected that, but I guess it's good to confirm. Get a new job. And it's not 1 in 4, is it? Enrolling in the most recent course that you completed. Okay. So they're reconcilable. It's not a contradiction. What career outcomes did you achieve by enrolling in the most recent Coursera course or program that you completed? I think this is the most appropriate numbers. Is they increased, they got a new job 17%, increased salary or pay 18%, increased job interview offers 19%. So these are basically the outcomes that I would be interested in for my purposes. Coursera versus Udemy for front-end development. Which course do you recommend? I'm literally trying to answer that question now. That's the research we're doing today. Cool. All right, let's see if ChatGPT got back with us with anything. Execute or continue to execute and refine the results and recommendations based on your plan. It seems to be the case. Yeah, full degree starting at $9,000. It's not at all obvious that that's a good idea. It's just not. Okay, it's doing stuff. Great. What is it doing? Codecademy job placement rate, still trying to figure it out. Nano degrees cost, yeah, 400 to $2,000. 10 hours for 1 to 6 months. That's great. Has not publicly released the percentage who find jobs. However, it's noted that most Udacity graduates will land a job within 6 months. Do they have the job guarantee? And they have had it and they have removed it back and forth. Guarantee. Udacity claims to help get students let's look somewhere else. Udacity job guarantee. A new job guarantee. Yeah, so in 2016 they had it, and then they removed it. 2 years, $6,000 in many states for communism college. Just go to community college. Yeah, I think less than that. Like some states have free community college. A lot of people, I think it's hilarious that you accidentally called it communism college. I'm not going to comment on that, but that's pretty funny. Some states will do free community college, and many states have heavily subsidized. Like I got paid to go to community college for 2 years. The issue is that getting an associate's degree just doesn't help much. So I think a coding bootcamp is going to be better than the average associate's degree. I'm not knocking it. I mean, whatever furthers your, it's better than doing nothing, but it's going to take 2 years and you're going to get results that are like, you could be much further along in 2 years. So think about 1 year of salary is $70,000. So it doesn't, okay, let me call this out, Jeff, because this is actually a big mistake a lot of people make when they think about return on investment and they are not trained in economics, is they ignore opportunity cost. If I can earn $70,000 for working for a year, then a 2-year degree doesn't cost $6,000 if I could have a substitute in 1-year degree. It costs $76,000. Does that make sense? So that's what a lot of people are ignoring. The main cost of college is opportunity cost. Kate says, I moved to YouTube from TikTok and got my husband watching. He's been studying full stack development for over 3 years, knows React, JavaScript, Node, and others. Any job recommendations? Yeah, he should be able to get a job with that. Is he currently employed or not? So I don't know. There's a few possible issues. You might have a resume issue if you're not getting interviews. There might be an interview performance problem. Some people know how to code, but they get like anxious during an interview or something. So we can polish all these things up. The solution there would be practice interviews or resume optimization, maybe LinkedIn optimization. Social networking is another big problem. So some people who are somewhat introverted, they may be an excellent programmer, their resume might look good, and then they literally just like don't apply and they don't network. So that would be another problem. Not in the field. Okay, thank you. Um, I think I'll stick with those four. Even if he's not in the field, he should be able to land a job if the resume looks good. Oh, in the portfolio, right? If he's not currently in the field, then he'll need a GitHub portfolio. Feel free to book a call with me. I can also assess him. There is a problem that happens sometimes where someone thinks they know JavaScript and they really don't. Or like they know how to like do one thing, but they're not actually a good programmer. So I can sanity check that, and then I can help brush up all the other things. Jeff says, got to compare it to the failure rate of boot camps. Yeah, that's a really important call out, right? Miller Time, just graduated, master's comp sci, 175K starting salary. College is the what? Miller Time, congrats. Congrats on that major accomplishment. I hope you'll connect with me on LinkedIn. That's really awesome. By the way, drop the name of your university if you don't mind, not to put you on the spot. Yeah, a master's degree is a great move. That's a whole different conversation. I think there's a good argument to be made that if you're going to get a 4-year degree, then getting the master's is a no-brainer because of the marginal benefit based relative to the marginal cost. But that's kind of a different conversation. Georgia Tech, solid choice, Miller Time. Solid, solid. Congrats. So yeah, I mean, a master's in comp sci from Georgia Tech, it's like, here you go, here's a job. Would you like a silver platter with that? So not everyone can get into Georgia Tech, not everyone can afford it, but if you can do it, it's a great move. Yeah, and I'm a fan of state schools because the return on investment is usually pretty good compared to some other schools. Looks like Jeff has given a shout out to Rochester Institute of Technology. Cool. Yeah, I haven't looked into them specifically, but sounds good. What I'm discovering with Coursera is just reaffirming what we already knew, which is it is a good option and a measurably good option, but it's not clearly a better option. Based on the research I've conducted, here's a comparison of the 4 online learning platforms you've mentioned. Basically repeating the same thing, right? Takes about 300 hours to complete. And I know for a fact that the responsive web design certificate, there are sections that you should be able to skip over or ignore. You don't need to know jQuery. You just don't. In 2023, you don't need it. Static 466, isn't most the stuff you learn in college has nothing to do with programming? That is correct. That is correct. So we need to distinguish between human capital model of education and the signaling model. So the human capital theory says that you go to college so that you can gain skills. That's not true. You mostly don't gain skills. What about the signaling model of education? The signaling model of education says that you go to college so that you can write on your resume that you went to college so that employers will believe that you're hardworking. And that is true. That is absolutely true. So having a college degree is great for your job search, even if going to college gives you very little skills. Although I will say in computer science in particular, you do get some skills. It's not like you get 0. It's a formality. Yep, well said. Yeater Teeter, how to learn programming, just program. That's actually super based and red-pilled and factual. So I'm not going to argue at all. The problem is that approximately 5% of humans are able to have the self-discipline to do it on their own. So self-learning is definitely possible, and you can do that and land a job in tech without ever having a college degree. You can just go grind. But over 95% of people who start that will bail, will abort their own plans because of lack of self-discipline, social reinforcement, guidance, and so on. Kate says, what don't we need in 2023? The answer is jQuery. jQuery. jQuery is a technical skill that Free Code Camp will have you learn on the responsive web design certificate, and it doesn't hurt anything. You just don't need it. Like, this is like, employers are not really using this except on the oldest of old code bases today. Most of what jQuery does has been replaced by the browser API, and that's like years ago. If cost is a primary concern, Free Code Camp offers substantial free code content. Look, I think GPT nailed it after it did the. Kate Blum says, I also heard that pho is obsolete at this point. True? I don't know. Was that a typo? Okay, PHP. I'm like, the soup? Like, I don't know if it's obsolete. So PHP gets joked about a lot. It is not true that PHP is obsolete. If we're being serious, the truth is that it is not obsolete. However, it is not a good entry point to your career, and it is not a good long-term career. You can gain a career in PHP with WordPress development and by other means. You're going to have a relatively low pay and relatively low job satisfaction rate if you are a PHP developer. So you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Senator Bum, and I'm not going to finish it there. Senator Bum says PHP is good and powerful, just funky syntax. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, but again, I'm mainly concerned with the job market, and it's not a great job market. Static 466, I think people can get away with lying about a degree in a different country. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that seems really stupid to me. I wouldn't recommend that, but possibly. Yeah, the results are not conclusive. So if we see any conclusive result, what's Coder Foundry cost? They're insisting that Udacity has a refund though, like a guarantee, which was news to me. Is Udacity in here, by the way? Oh, look, Udacity is on Course Report. So in a way, it counts as a boot camp. In a way, it counts as a boot camp. And here it does not mark guarantees job. Rolling start date. This is awful. But whatever, they're still highly rated. So here's an additional plus point for Udacity. They seem to meet the criteria for prestige in a strange way. Coursera. So Coursera is not on here. Here's the support article. Does Udacity guarantee that I will find a job? No. Do you have any statistics data to share on job attainment? The chance of landing a job vary widely depending on, so I think ChatGPT may have screwed up here. I think it's just flat out. I think it's just flat out mistaken on the guarantee. Meet many members of the community, whatever. This is just exactly why you need to enroll with me at Latterly, because I don't give you squishy answers like this. You will get a job. You will get a job. I think I will start doing a Udacity supplement because this is just awful. Like the answer is so squishy. Oh look, Germanus got a job. Does that mean you'll get a job? I don't know. Maybe. Awful. What about the freelance world? There's good money to be made on Upwork doing small PHP. Like, not to my knowledge. I've made some money freelancing, but it's just a drop in the bucket compared to a big tech role. So, I don't know. Change my mind if you can, but I haven't seen any data to that effect. I think the average freelancer earnings is a pittance. So I think you're like assuming that someone's going to be like a top 2% freelancer or something. Maybe I need to go with Coursera just because of this. Let me see if ChatGPT, I think Udacity does not guarantee a job anymore. I think that is outdated information on a previous program. Please confirm. Considering these two articles, one here and two here. What about the Odin project? Yeah, we talked about Odin earlier. What's up, Rudy? Thanks for being here. Free code camp over Odin, but I think neither of these is particularly good. These are just the options you want to do if you literally have a budget of 0. They're not really comparable to like even Coursera. Yeah. So the Odin, I'm doing the Odin project right now. Cool. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily quit it, but whenever you complete that, you might want to do a couple other courses in addition. So when it comes to employer recognition, the Odin project doesn't have it. So it's too small. So check out this Odin project stars right here. It's like 2,500. Also, Ruby is like an awful programming language. But you can do the Odin project without doing Ruby. So I'm not sure exactly like which course you're taking and whatnot. That's another thing that's kind of annoying, right? Is people say I'm doing the Odin project, but they have more than one program. So like, what are you studying? But this is 2,500. Now compare that to Free Code Camp. Rudy says JavaScript. Okay, smarter than Ruby. Good. Yeah, so the JavaScript one is better for sure. But this is 368K. So, what was that, like 100 times better? But the curriculum, I think, had more stars. What was it, 7.2? So it's still what? Tens of thousands, like tens of times better? I guess not hundreds of times better. I don't know. Someone else can do the math. 370 over 7. Tens of times better. What are the top 3 languages you recommend? Recommend for what? So JavaScript is the #1 recommendation for someone who wants to get their first programming role. And Python is #2, and I'm not going to talk about #3. Even Python, you should only do that if you want to get into a data-centric field, in my opinion, as your first role. Now, if you're already a programmer, learning Python as a second language is brilliant. I highly recommend that. Free FFC over TOP. So I think you're asking Free Code Camp over the Odin project. The answer is yes, for the reasons I just mentioned. But again, you can do them both. Java is number one for me. Yeah, if you already know Java, great. It's not a good first language. For someone that doesn't have a background in computer science, it's not a good first language. But if you already know it, awesome. Will the market for juniors ever improve? The answer is yes. Keep an eye out for January. As of my knowledge, I don't know why it does this. As of my knowledge in 2021, you just browsed the internet. So why are you talking about your cutoff? You are right. Java as a first language, you will quit in 2 days. That's hilarious. Entry level front end is hard? Question mark. Like yes and no. Yes and no. Oh, hard to find. No. I mean, there's more JavaScript related roles than any other form of programming related role. Like find another language with more roles. So they're not hard to find. The thing is that there are a lot of people applying for them. So it's highly competitive, but you can still land a role. The question is just like at what tier. So tier 1 is really, really hard, but tier 3 is like, it's tricky because I don't want to say tier 3 is not hard either because you got to put in work. But once you put in the work, you can get a tier 3 job. I'm pretty confident. What are your favorite plugins for the GPT beta? Oh gosh. I like the browsing plugin the most so far. This news is like all old. All right, y'all, I got to wrap up soon, so make sure to follow the page so you don't miss anything. Hey, go over to the YouTube and follow that as well. Link is in my bio. I have a number of coding related playlists over there. Today we're doing research, but usually I just code. So yeah, if you want to watch live coding, see me over there. Codecademy job placement rate is reported to be between 60 and 80%. That is so hard for me to believe, but I don't know. They don't provide a job placement rate, but have reported that over 40,000 graduates have landed jobs after completing at least one certification. How many students have they had? In the millions, right? We have over 110,000 people who self-report themselves as alumni, listing at least one certification on their LinkedIn profile. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. So, what do they mean self-reporting? They generate the certificates, so wouldn't they be able to verify that? There seems to be a verifiable credential. So 40,000 out of 110K is about 1 in 3, right? Which is actually comparable to Coursera, 1 in 3, or 1 in 4. It's actually better than Coursera. Wow, I'm dead. One in 4 completers got a new job. You post great content. Highly recommend watching. Thank you so much. Data recommendations for portfolios. I don't know, and do you mean data analyst or data engineer or like a data visualization for a front end developer? So I can tell you what I would like to see, but like I don't hire data analysts, so I don't really know. My Unfortunately, I think my bar is a lot higher than the industry bar because I just see so many data analysts that don't even do stuff like distinguish correlation versus causation and basic stuff, and so many data analysts that can't even run a linear regression. Which, in my book, it's like if you can't run a linear regression, how are you even a data analyst? It confuses me, frankly. It's like I don't think you can actually analyze data if you can't do that. So I can tell you what I'd like to see, but I think my bar is a lot higher than the junior bar for an actual data analyst. Free Code Camp YouTube channel and millions of minutes. Oh, this is an interesting fact. Um, yeah, so they get a lot of viewers. That's cool. Where they live, United States, where they work, and they go to Upwork, huh? That seems bad. Isn't Upwork like a freelancing site? They go to Upwork and they go to Amazon. How to get into Amazon? Free Code Camp. Okay, so this is really interesting. Let's run the same data. You know what? We can do apples to apples. God bless LinkedIn. I think we're going to end up with apples to apples after all, y'all. So we can do this alumni search for Free Code Camp. And then we can also do it for Coursera and Udacity and Udemy. All filters. Is there an alumni filter? My control F says that the word alum is somewhere on the field, but I don't see it. Let's go here into the elements. And here it is. This is the alumni network. Okay, so this is some... I'm not following them. I'm surprised by that. Okay, so here... is how we figure out the alumni thing. Alumni. Yeah, here's the alumni thing. Awesome. Udemy isn't really a school though, right? That's true. So, but it doesn't matter for our purposes. Our question is, you do a thing, you get a job, yes or no? And whether you meet the legal criteria of a school, it doesn't matter for our purposes. But legally speaking, they are not a school, you're right. Hey man, I'm trying to land a data analyst or data engineering job after college. Do you have any tip? Yeah. Dang, there's a guy you should follow on TikTok. What's his name? Kate Blum says, use my or Udacity, question mark. I think that meant Udemy or Udacity. Oh, and as soon as the thing loads, I closed it. What is that guy's name? There's a really cool guy from Netflix on TikTok. Find him and follow him. That's my tip. And it's one of the people that I follow, and my followers are not, the people I follow is not hidden. Here's my liked. Maybe I liked a video of his recently. Yeah, this is the guy. Hell yeah, we found it. Follow this guy. That's my tip. Zach Wilson. He's a data engineer at Netflix. The guy is super underrated. And he would tell you, look at this, data analysts can make 30 to 40% more by transitioning to data engineering. So he would say, go for data engineering, everything else held constant. like assuming that you have equal preferences and et cetera, et cetera. Go for data engineering, and then for data engineering, you're going to want to learn Python, basically TLDR. And then where do you learn Python? Well, I think you can learn it at any of these learning providers that we've talked about today. So the top 3 would be Coursera, Codecademy, and Udacity, as well as a proper boot camp. Don't sleep on a proper boot camp. And so there I would recommend probably Springboard is my #1 recommendation. How difficult to make the leap from dev to data engineer? It depends on your personality, and do you have a background in data analysis? Did you ever take a course in statistics in college and so on? Also, I wouldn't recommend making that leap at all, personally. So do you just hate being a developer or what? Like, I think data engineer from data analyst is a good move, but data engineer from developer, I think that's a bad move, frankly. Okay, so Free Code Camp, now they have this 220,000 alumni. Where'd the 40K number from? Where'd the 40K number come from? At least 40K of them got their first tech job after earning a certification. Where is that number from? So the 110K number is like way out of date now. By like 100%, it's out of date. So you see how like this stuff gets out of date so easily. Bummer. All right, so I got to tweet this guy Quincy Larson. Maybe I'll just tweet the I'll tweet the whole Free Code Camp. Let's see, count of Codecademy. Dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Is there like a Codecademy graduate study? So let me do that quickly. Codecademy graduate survey. I meant to do Free Code Camp. Oops. (2021) survey. Do you like Free Code Camp? I like it, but that's different from like having measurable data on their efficacy, right? I love what they do in the community. They help educate people. It's great. It's an interesting article that has nothing to do with what we're doing right now. More than 18K responded to this survey. I think there's going to be a positive bias where people who respond are more likely to be the people that highly value Free Code Camp. Only 10% of respondents are working as developers. And is this a survey among people who completed? So these are new coders. It's how they're identifying these individuals. %43% hold at least a bachelor's. That is wild. Programming with Mosh. Let's go. Traversy Media. That's awesome. You can totally see the community right there. So it's not clear to me whether a quote unquote new coder is someone who enrolled in Free Code Camp or someone who completed something. So Free Code Camp bad. So is Free Code Camp bad? If something good is something that we are highly confident gets you to some tangible end goal, we're highly confident that it is the best. Yeah, I would say Free Code Camp is not best. I would not say Free Code Camp is bad. I would just say that it's not best for most people. Is AI taking away developer jobs? No, it's helping people. What do you think of Solo Code? I don't even know what it is. I guess I'll check it out later. I'm not going to check it out right now. But here, I'll make yet another tab. That's not a useful article. Okay. So we have these certifications. I could do some data analysis and be like, do these like program developer? Do these people code? I don't even know what just got filtered. Did I actually filter the people based on their learning outcomes? Okay, so here's 46K alumni that have the word developer. What? Like, I don't know, programmer. 28K. Or could it just be filtering? Like, I don't know what I'm filtering. Or could it just be filtering in their like skills? Like, show me one of these people. Email developer, front-end developer. Okay. Okay, so developer is actually in the title. That's cool. Software engineer, software developer, HTML developer. Excuse me. It seems that all of these people identify as engineers and developers. This is a very strong correlation. So I like this. So So what do I have here? What I think I have is a correlation, but I don't know about the causality. So we got 58K out of the 220. Which is literally just like bang on even with Coursera, 1 and 4. So I don't see a statistical difference there. What would you recommend? Have you heard of Mimo? Yeah, that's the one you can do on your phone too, right? I think I tried to make like a little Mimo portfolio. It didn't go very well, but if it helps you. So what we can see is that, oh, up to 4,000 depending on the qualification. What does that mean? Yeah, I really can't recommend any of them. Dang. I would like to recommend these people. I would like to recommend these people, but the data is so flaky. Um, does Udacity have a partnership with Google or something? How about front-end web developer? Related nano degree programs. Let's check that out. CSS website layout. This is cool. It doesn't seem to be partnered with Google or anything like that. Um, can we just go off pure popularity? This is where I need to dive back into my actual data. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up here for now, and I'm gonna go check what data I have. We can look at pure popularity, 624 reviews, Codecademy. Oh, Codecademy Pro's on here. Ooh, but only 3 reviews. Well, this is bad news, Bears. I'm thrilled to announce I completed Scrum Master through Knowledge Hut. Has nothing to do with this Codecademy Pro thing. Can I look at revenue? Codecademy revenue is 29.3 million with 150K customers. Okay. And then let's go to Coursera. So on a revenue basis, Coursera is 20 times bigger. What about on a customer? And so Udacity is 100 million. So Udacity is also bigger. The options were Udacity, Coursera, and Codecademy. So on a revenue basis, Codecademy is the smallest. Why do we care about size? The idea here is that we're trying to get something that would correlate with employer awareness. Even if we don't have a specific number, we can just sort of like say, yeah, well, if it's a 20 times difference, I suspect that's the bigger one. So Coursera looks bigger. What about customer count? Measure, estimate revenue and usage, or like monthly active user counts for Udacity, Coursera, and Free Code Camp. Wasn't there a fourth we were dealing with? Udacity? Udacity, Coursera, Free Code Camp, and Codecademy. Are you just saying these are bad because you offer your own course? You chatting. What about Springboard and General Assembly? Yeah, earlier in the thing, I already recommended Springboard. So Springboard is not a online course. It's a coding bootcamp. So it's a different educational tier. Okay, so let's see what that does, and then I'll get to your question. You chatting off and on. I mean, I'm trying to address a research question, but yeah, let me get to your comments. What would you recommend? SWE, Bootcamp, how about Springboard? Yeah, I already recommended Springboard. General Assembly is fine too, but I think Springboard has a job guarantee and I think General Assembly does not. Let's double check that real quick. Okay, so here's General Assembly, 425, 400 reviews. So they meet the criteria for prestige and no job guarantee. Although they accept GI Bill, and I think Springboard does not. Let's check that out. So, yeah, so if you got GI Bill, maybe General Assembly. But I think for most people, if you got GI Bill, maybe General Assembly. But I think for most people, Springboard will be better. Are you just saying these are bad because you offer your own course? No, I offer my own course because these are bad. If they were all good and people didn't need help, then I wouldn't be trying to like fill that gap. But like people have issues with these things all the time. Even with Springboard, which is highly regarded, boot camps are fast paced and a supplementary service is really helpful for a lot of students. But Free Code Camp, like they can't even prove that they even make a difference on the job market. I'm trying to find it. Okay, so this is fine. Can I just go to another company like Udacity? No? Coursera. Free Code Camp. Udemy. Free Code Camp should be a 501c3, so I can look at their receipts. Free Code Camp annual revenue. Cool. So under $1 million in annual revenue. Under $1 million in annual revenue. And then what was Codecademy? Yeah, so this lines up. What happened here? It just totally died. Let's retry that. Free Code Camp monthly here. I'll just write it in GPT and then we'll see if it can organize it. Free Code Camp annual revenue 750K. Monthly active user count. And then we're going to do Coursera, Udacity, Codecademy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think those are the 4, right? Codecademy, Free Code Camp, Coursera. Codecademy, Free Code Camp, Coursera. And then is it Udacity or Udemy? Udacity. And then side note, very rough math of employed divided by graduate or alumni using the LinkedIn alumni feature shows about 25% alumni employment for Free Code Camp and for Free Code Camp. It's like broken. What's going on here? Same. Okay, so can I just like make you stop or something? Let's edit this. Let's just do that. Replit is the best. Nah, what's your PC specs? Garbage. What matters is you apply and practice what you learn. Watching videos and courses don't equal success. There's some truth to that. Yeah, I can agree to part of that. But there is this correlation that matters. So we're interested in the return on investment, and we want to give people a starting point. When people say, hey, John, how do I learn to code? I don't want to tell them, hey, go watch YouTube videos. It's like, doesn't seem like good advice. Or learn and practice what you learn. It's like, okay, well, like what do I learn and where? I want you to learn React, not Python, and I want you to start with one of these places. Well, which place, John? I'd like to be able to give them a specific place. My current answer is like any of these 4. And I don't feel like great about that answer. Although if I can't get a better answer, I mean, I'll just say that, I guess. But hey, this is, if we can't break tie for any other reason, I think this is a fair enough tiebreaker. Is which one is biggest? Because this is, in theory, should correlate to employer awareness. Look, it's cruising through the data. Statista, nice. I'm not asking about the pricing tiers. What is this Statista stuff? Brand awareness. Accept only necessary cookies. Oh, okay. Yeah. Brand awareness survey would work. Okay, so Udacity brand awareness is 32%. This is the year of 2022. What if we do Coursera? Paywall. Bummer. Maybe I should just run my own survey. Okay, we can try Codecademy. Codecademy. How high is the brand awareness of Codecademy in the United States? So it's 37% Codecademy. That's aided brand recognition. See if I can get in the FAQ here. Aided brand recognition. Yeah, okay. So even though this like chart, it didn't want to give me the chart, but it gave me this. 43%. And this is 2022, I think. %. This is US. These are all US. How independent are their statistics? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Go Nuggets. Not sure what that means either. Yeah, this does seem to be independent. Like this is not like Coursera talking about their own. Cool. And then Free Code Camp doesn't have one because they're a nonprofit, so that's a little different. So we have these three brand awareness. Coursera revenue, 524 million. Codecademy, 150K customers. Customers per year is a weird number. I'd rather have monthly active users. So revenue, let's get revenue for Coursera. We got revenue. Let's get revenue for Udacity. That's 100 million. Zippia. Then they got a Zippia score, whatever that means. Okay, revenue, 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 awareness, awareness, awareness. And so what are we seeing? We're seeing that they do not line up, actually. So Codecademy has less revenue and more brand recognition. Interesting. Codecademy, let's see if I can do monthly active users. So this is 45 million users. This is 85 million users. 50 plus million users. And that's April 2020. And then this is 2022. So this seems to be more updated. But how did they get the number? Can I just go to like Codecademy's site and just see like, no, I don't think so. So these are not like highly verifiable numbers, but they're numbers. So we got Codecademy stats. Let's see if we got, at least it can be apples to apples. Udacity stats. Page not found. Coursera stats. No? Okay, so 82 million registered users, Q1 2021. Coursera. So they're like comparable. What about Udacity? $14 million in 2019, 16.9 million sometime later. Only 4% of students ever complete a MOOC. Ooh, wow. No, this is actually huge. If this is facts. Only 4% of students ever complete a MOOC. At present, our nanodegree programs have a 34% graduation rate. That's really awesome. I don't know if it's still true, but that's really awesome. This goes under side notes. What's a MOOC? It's a massive open online course. Basically an online course with a bunch of people in a class. Like hundreds or like, yeah, dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of students in a single class. So they're not really talking about monthly active users, but they have registered users. So this would be Udacity, 16.9 million registered users. It's a citation, but where's the link? Where's the 1? It's literally a 1 that looks like you can click it, but you can't. Okay. 73 graduates who signed up with the intention of advancing their career reported this favorable outcome. Okay, all right. So that's not like really solid data. Here's from October 2020. What's a MOOC? Thank you. Thoughts on Helsinki MOOC for Java? Swerve. I'd have never heard of it, so I wouldn't do it. 50% of graduates who signed up with the intention of advancing their careers received a 33% median increase in pay. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Intro to programming is going to take 4 months. That's wild to me. And they have been doing Python 1 and 2. At some point, you have to look at the actual. Yeah, when the data is ambiguous, then I look into the content of the courses, and that's where why am I learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Python? It's like too much. It's like a sampler instead of something that's designed to actually land you a job. Okay, so on these numbers, registered users is consistent with brand awareness, and that's smaller. So I don't know what's going on with Codecademy revenue being so low, but um, this is 2022. Yeah, 2022. I'm going to make a judgment call that brand recognition is more important than revenue, I think. Although they're both size indicators, also employee headcount would be an interesting size indicator. But the user base difference there is so big. Like social networking effects, I would think would be larger from the user base than the employees. I don't know. Maybe not, because if I like have an account, I talk about that with my friends and family less than my job, right? My job, it's like people know and care more than they care about where I took a course, especially a MOOC course, not even my degree, right? But I think the brand recognition, the main thing we care about estimating is employer brand recognition, and I think that would correlate very closely with aided brand recognition as opposed to revenue. So on that basis, Codecademy and Coursera look like the top two. But then Coursera is just expensive, isn't it? So then I circle back to Codecademy. I think I'm comfortable saying that these are the top two. But when you get into that $9,000 region for the degree, here you're better off doing a coding boot camp like Springboard, I think. Unless you get, well, and these are all masters. Do they have a bachelor's? Here's a bachelor. Maybe if you can get it in Georgetown is expensive, yo. Maybe if you can get a bachelor with like really good scholarships, I think that would swing me. So I would say like, go ahead and apply. Like if you can get to University of North Texas with a decent scholarship, like do it. But if you're going to pay 9 grand out of pocket versus 10 grand out of pocket or 9,900 for Springboard, Springboard has the job guarantee. I'm going that way. And then you can get your tech job and you can get your degree after and have your employer pay for it. That's a power move. So let's say I go with Coursera. What am I telling people to learn? I'm telling them to get a certificate. And if it is a Fortune 50 backed certificate, we have data on that it's comparable to a coding boot camp. IBM. What is Fortune rank IBM? Rank 168. So they're not Fortune 50. So they don't get out of the prestige requirement. Certificate programs, view all certificates. Yeah, I thought they had a thing with Facebook. Meta Database Engineer Professional Certificate. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Data analytics, business intelligence. TensorFlow developer, programmer, advanced, SAS programmer. Yeah, so they don't actually have a good certificate in programming, right? You can take courses, but you don't get a certificate. What about a master track? Okay, well, this feels good. I don't know. What's the difference between a data engineer and a database engineer? I guess if you want to be a database engineer, check this out. Data analytics. So it seems to me that we have come to a conclusion. Thank you for bearing with me for 3 hours. Employers do often pay for extra certs. Huge opportunity cost if you use it. Huge opportunity if you use it. Okay. I was like, how is it an opportunity cost? It's just an opportunity. Yes, and I think that is my recommended strategy, by the way, is if you can get an employer to pay for college, like you should. Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay 10 grand for college these days. Between going to undergrad, finding affordable online options, and partners like Guild Education. Guild Education is a great one. You should be able to get a bachelor's degree for 10 grand. And it is an option. You can do both. You can do a bachelor's degree and then do a boot camp. And it's going to be more expensive. Now you're looking at 20 grand, but potentially could be worth it because you get the job guarantee and you also have the degree. Okay, so what is the conclusion? Caveat. Here is caveat. No active no programming certifications. Oh, here I got under data science somehow. Let me go back. Here on Explore, explore a certificate. See, that's on me. View all, I went on data science certificates. I should look under computer science certificates or more certificate programs. I really just wanted a list of all certificates. Okay, whatever. Computer science certificates. Cybersecurity, front-end developer. Yeah. See, this is a cool one, man. It's hard to say no to this. Is it possible to torrent this stuff and not pay for it? I have no idea. I think on this one it's too fresh. I think this came out pretty recently. 7 months at 6 hours per week. Why is this ideal? This is a 7-month program. And we know that employers who think that your program's really fast, they devalue your program. So you really do want a program that is 4 to 12 months, and that 6 to 8 month range is a real sweet spot. Cloud Solutions Architect Professional Certificate. Look at that. That's cool. So we got front end developer. What about engineer? Database engineer, software engineering. I mean, that's cool, but not IBM. Like, come on. Cloud engineer. Software engineering master track certificate. I don't know. What is that? That's interesting. $4,500. I like ASU. I don't know about you. Successfully completing is a pathway to the Master of Computer Science. That's kind of cool. Provides you 3 credits. So you'd have to get like 8 of these bad boys, which would be like 3,400 grand or 34 grand. That's not a super cheap master degree. Okay, so I'd swerve that. Palo Alto. I used to work with them. Okay, cool. Support professional, no thanks. UX design, I mean, if you want to do design, cool. So this is kind of where it's at, dude. Oh, and they have a backend developer too. 8 months at 6 hours or 7 months at 6 hours. Is there any full stack only from IBM? I see you, IBM. No thanks. Yeah, I think this is it, really, because it's a twofer. Because it's a twofer. It meets the size criteria, maybe, but you're going to need a degree. Sorry, I don't. It looks like there's a chat going on in there. I missed it, though. Quick reminder, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch, link in my bio, and see the full screen. I have live coding playlists on YouTube. Included with Coursera Plus. What's that? $59 a month. Oh man, this is really competitive. So we got $59 a month. versus Codecademy Pro. And then what's Codecademy Pro cost? Pricing for individuals. It's also 50. They're literally competing head to head, aren't they? So they're both $59 a month. With Codecademy, they often have these coupons. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Can you get a discount for this? Maybe. And then what if you do have a $0 budget? If you have a $0 budget, I don't recommend Codecademy free tier. I don't. Okay. All right. I think that's it. So my number one recommendation now is this program. That's my number one recommendation. And it's a 7 months at 6 hours a week. Tat 420. Let's go. 420. All right, y'all. That concludes today's stream. Thank you for joining.